What you are looking at is the Internet's invisible infrastructure, millions of glowing data packets traveling at high speeds through a massive global logistics network. Every email, streaming video, and file transfer relies on this exact system to move from one side of the planet to the other. Today, we'll decode the step-by-step process of how data delivery works across these networks. To do this, we are going to run a series of practical tests. We will verify your local interfaces, identify how different addresses work, and test real device-to-device communication right from your own desk. If you want to follow along, you only need two things: a basic connection to a local network and an open command prompt on Windows or terminal on a Mac. By checking these underlying rules yourself, you begin to see how computers interact with the network. Understanding these basics is a practical first step toward troubleshooting your own connectivity and seeing how data actually flows. Step 1 is testing your machine. Open your terminal, type ping 127.0.0.1 and press enter. You should immediately see successful replies populating the screen. That sequence of numbers is called the loopback address. It is a universal diagnostic tool built directly into your computer's operating system. Mechanically, here is what just happened. Your ping command generated a data packet that left your CPU, traveled outward to the very edge of your local network interface card, and then immediately looped back inward before ever touching an external cable or Wi-Fi signal. Because this data traveled successfully, you have just verified that your computer's internal TCP IP stack is functioning correctly. You proved your machine can process data, even if you disconnect it from a physical router entirely. Confirming local hardware health is the non-negotiable first step. If your machine cannot talk to itself, it cannot talk to the internet, which means we always check the loopback before attempting any external network diagnostics. Now that we know your hardware works, let's find your exact network coordinates. In your terminal, type ipconfig if you are on Windows, or ifconfig on a Mac, and look for your IPv4 address. This address is different from your MAC address. A MAC address is a permanent physical identifier stamped onto your hardware at the factory. An IP address is temporary. It is simply a logical network location assigned to you for this specific session. The number you are looking at is a private IP. It is used strictly for internal communication among devices in your home or office. It is completely different from your public IP, which is the singular address visible to the broader internet. Networks use Network Address Translation, or NAT, as a border checkpoint. When data leaves your house, NAT stops it at the router, replaces your private label with a single public identifier, and routes the packet into the broader internet. Do not confuse these two IP types when testing. Private IPs keep your local traffic organized, while public IPs dictate your visibility to the rest of the world. They serve entirely separate functions. By performing this translation, NAT acts as a security shield. It allows all your internal devices to pull data from the web without ever exposing their exact local coordinates to outside nodes. Let's put this into practice by sending data to another specific device on your network. Find the local IP of a second device on your Wi-Fi. Type ping, followed by that IP, but wait before you press enter. Executing that command starts the first step, encapsulation. The computer prepares the data for travel by wrapping the raw payload in a digital container. These containers are protocol headers, providing the network with essential from and to information needed to guide the data through complex switches and routers to its final destination. A large encapsulated file is too heavy to travel efficiently, so the data block must be fragmented into smaller chunks. To ensure nothing is damaged, the cyclic redundancy check scans these fragments, verifying the data perfectly matches the original. If a fragment fails the CRC scan due to data loss or corruption, the receiving computer simply rejects it and automatically requests a fresh copy from the sender. Taken together, encapsulation and fragmentation ensure that data is correctly formatted and verified for integrity before it ever leaves your machine. Once the data is verified and fragmented, it has to navigate physical network constraints. A desktop hardwired to Ethernet can send data much faster than an old smartphone on a weak Wi-Fi signal can receive it. Flow control solves this. It is a pacing mechanism built into the protocol that throttles the transmission speed, ensuring a fast sender doesn't overwhelm a slow receiver and cause data to drop. But pacing alone doesn't fix congestion. When multiple computers try to send heavy data streams down the same limited network path at exactly the same time, a bottleneck forms. The solution is multiplexing. Instead of letting signals fight for space, multiplexers take multiple distinct data streams and combine them into a single, highly efficient medium. This process optimizes heavy traffic loads in enterprise-level environments, allowing hundreds of employees to use the same network path simultaneously without causing a total shutdown. Without flow control managing speed and multiplexing managing volume, high-speed corporate networks would struggle to stay functional under the weight of their own traffic. Now, go back to your terminal and press Enter on that ping command you prepared earlier. You should see a new set of successful data returns from the second device. If the request times out, it doesn't necessarily mean the network is broken. Strict firewall settings on the receiving device might be blocking the ping entirely, which is an intentional security feature. Your connection is unicast, a strict one-to-one conversation. Multicast sends data only to a subscribed group, like updating just the IT department. Finally, broadcast blasts data to all devices simultaneously, used primarily to discover the local network. By utilizing the right cast type, the network prevents congestion, ensuring data only travels to the hardware that actually needs it. You have now successfully verified your local interface, differentiated your IP formats, and proven cross-device connectivity from your terminal. The commands you just ran are the same diagnostic tools network engineers use to maintain global communication standards. The logic scales from your desk to massive server farms. As you saw, NAT acts as a shield for internal architecture, while multiplexing routes thousands of encapsulated packets through complex bottlenecks. Understanding these core protocols reveals the mechanics behind modern enterprise systems, showing how they stay resilient and fast even when processing immense amounts of data. If you found this breakdown helpful, please like the video, share it with anyone studying networking, and subscribe to the channel for more technical tutorials. And if you ran into a firewall roadblock during your ping test, or if you have any questions about testing your network, drop a comment below so we can help you troubleshoot.